I am so overwhelmed by the turnout. I think we should start by giving ourselves a twinkle. We are the 99% San Miguel. Yay! I have a really easy job. And so I think I can cut my notes short. I'm the teaching part, you're the speak out part, and I really want to hear from everybody here, because we have a lot of information here, just in this room alone. The revolution's begun, and what happens next depends on us, what we do, what we don't do. And before any action, we want to have the information, we want to have the facts. And so that's what we hope we're going to accumulate today, both what the presenters have to offer and what you here in the room are going to share with the rest of the group. What makes me qualified for this overview is that I'm a native New Yorker who has been a peace activist my whole life, and I can't believe I move here and they start the revolution without me. My other qualification is that I worked for a bazillion years in the belly of the beast on Wall Street. And as a consultant in IT or computers, my qualifications were that I had studied programming and that I could write. And banking and brokerage, my job was to document. So that meant I got to follow the flow of the money. So pretend I'm making up the names of these banks, but say if the Bank of Tokyo, because of their laws and rules and regulations, cannot buy particular instruments that are being sold by, say, I don't know, one of the other banks. I think Fleet Boston's a good name. What would happen is Deutsche Bank, who could purchase them based on their laws and regulations, would make the purchase, and then Bank of Tokyo could continue the transaction with them. So the money, rules and regulations had nothing to do with anything. They figured out how to get around it. I was at Merrill Lynch after Exxon Enron, and the SEC came in and demanded, we want everything documented. So as a documentation person, that was my job. And I set up meetings with project managers, and they could care less. Some of them wouldn't show up. Some of them would hand off documentation they had, which they could have made up. I had no way of knowing. We put it together. The SEC accepted it. Okay. Who are they? Who are these people? You are looking like a group that is on top of this and understands who these people are. Started out as young people, highly educated. They did what they were told to do. Go to school. You'll get a good job. Blah, blah, blah. That didn't happen. The system didn't work for them. So they are now out there, no jobs. And they're angry, and they have very raised consciousness. But it's not just young people. We've seen unemployed. We've seen unions. We've seen the teachers. We've seen the nurses. We've seen the transit workers. We've seen a lot of people out there. So, yes, it's mostly the young people who are leading this. They believed this was their birthright, the American dream, and it's turned into the American nightmare. But the good news here is that they're no longer voiceless. What are they doing? And I find this the most exciting part. The Occupy Wall Street and related movements have returned to direct democracy. Not really something we've seen practiced in ancient times. This is why no one can identify the protest movement's leadership. There ain't none. Everyone who has been interviewed has said, I'm only speaking for myself. And that's me. Politics in the broader sense is a moral issue, and the moral clarity of this movement is what has moved people to participate. No one mentions Obama or Perry or any of the other electoral dramas that are going on right now. In their general assemblies, the protesters' decisions represent the will of the people involved and are meaningful to the participants as opposed to decisions made by elected leaders. Even if the decision was not what they wanted, they were part of the process. They were heard and they were understood. What a concept. Just my personal opinion. To quote them directly about the General Assembly, the General Assembly is a gathering of people committed to making decisions based upon a collective agreement or consensus. There is no single leader or governing body of the General Assembly. Everyone's voice is equal. Anyone is free to propose an idea or express an opinion as part of the General Assembly. Each proposal follows the same basic format. An individual shares what is being proposed, why it is being proposed, and if there is enough agreement, how it can be carried out. And it goes on. I'm going to cut some of this short so I have more time for you guys to speak out. If there is not consensus, the responsible group or individual is asked to revise the proposal and submit again at the following General Assembly until a majority consensus is reached. There are working thematic groups, and they include the basics, food, medical, and stuff, but it also includes principles of solidarity. If an idea comes up and the majority don't like it, it gets tabled. Leaderless doesn't mean unorganized. If a leaderless movement is going to survive, it has to be tightly organized, but just not in a non-hierarchical way. And there are pretty firm guidelines for running a leaderless organization. And I hope that we get to explore them on Monday, and that you all will be wanting to participate in an open General Assembly on Calzada de la Luz at 1 o'clock. That was just another plug. So they're rethinking everything, they're discussing everything, they're learning and conceptualizing the kind of world they want to create. Using the consensus form of decision-making, they attempt to be the change they want to see in the world. It's another major shift. And they are committed to nonviolence, which is really, really big. What they're trying to do right now is to build a movement and to build influence, and they're doing that. They're shedding light on what real issues there are. And why Wall Street? Well, I mentioned my personal experience from the inside, but it's been Wall Street's excesses that were the principal cause of the current economic strife. It was the big bank malfeasance that led to the Great Recession and the disparity between rich and poor. And that's, being well documented in various places. Just a couple of examples. J.P. Morgan Chase is currently pulling in record profits. Bank of America, Barclays, Goldman Sachs, and Credit Suisse are planning to lay off tens of thousands of workers. Due to the failure of small competitors and all the mergers that went on during 2008, the banks got bigger. And they're now bigger than they were pre-recession. Almost 20 trillion. And trillion is hard for me to actually visualize. There's like way too many zeros. Was destroyed by the Great Recession. And total family wealth is still down 12.8 trillion in today's dollars. Big banks are currently not lending to small banks. My favorite, according to the New York Attorney General's, is that 9 of the financial firms that were among the largest recipients of the bailout paid 5,000 of their traders and bankers bonuses of more than $1 million apiece of your tax dollars.
Okay, time. And if you'd like to respond, you have 2 minutes. Raise your hand.
I've been an art teacher and intentionally not interested in money. I found that through one documentary I became educated as to the schemes of everything, and it was Inside Job, recommended by CBS.
you
Did
recommend?
everybody hear that inside job? It's an excellent video.
Anybody else?
Anybody else that wanted to add to that? What I didn't have time to say is what they want, and you have a list of their principles. Yes?
Would it be possible to show the inside job video somewhere as part of this teach-in at some point?
I got the video from my son to see and left it in Los Angeles.
No, we have it.
Oh, do you, all right.
Civil justice has it. We can check it, show it.
Get on the mailing list to know when these things are happening,
This is
so.
available online.
Global Justice will show Inside Job. You can buy it at once. Okay, anybody else? Great, thank you, Tony.
Okay, I just use their time that they're not using. Sneaking this in here, my conclusion.
All right.
Good for you, go girl.
Hit it.
What the protesters are saying is that they want a different world. And everyone can see that the system is deeply unjust and careening out of control. The power is that they're looking to create a new system. And Professor Cornel Wells, who managed to get himself arrested this week, did tell the protesters to not be afraid of using the word revolution. So I'm going to use the R word, and I'm going to say, join the revolution. Come and join us on Monday. Thank you.